So I think that one of the most important things that anybody can do to protect themselves financially, to be able to achieve any sort of financial stability or even financial independence, is to have multiple streams of income. Whether you work for a company or you work for yourself, the truth is that there is nothing guaranteed in life. And putting all of your eggs in one basket, relying on just one source of income to cover all of your bills and to pay for your life, is a dangerous game to play. The truth is that if you work for a company, you unfortunately have very little control over the stability of your income. You can be fired, you can be laid off, the company you work for can close down or go bankrupt, you can have your hours reduced. There are all sorts of things outside of your control that could leave you without an income.
If you can tell me why I shouldn't fire you without using the letter E, you can keep your job.
Okay. I'm a good work guy.
You're fired.
But I didn't say.
You will.
And if, like me, you're self-employed, then you know that even at the best of times, your income can fluctuate wildly. It's not at all unusual for me to make one amount one month and to make 3 times that the next month, and then to make 3 times less the next month again. So there's really no predictability as far as how much money you're able to bring in. And again, no matter what you do for a living, there can be periods of time that it is quieter, that it is slower, things can happen, you can get hurt on the job and not be able to go to work. And over and above all of that, most jobs do have limitations of some sort as to how much you can increase your income over time. Most companies do have a ceiling that you can hit when it comes to advancement. Most businesses are only scalable to a certain point and then they're not anymore. And so with all of that said, I think that having multiple streams of income is one of the most important things that anybody can do to give themselves the peace of mind to know that if all goes wrong, they're still not going to be left without any money coming in. Between the age of 20 and now being 30 years old, I've managed to establish 5 different streams of income. And though everything I just said is completely true and I wholeheartedly believe it, the fact is that I didn't set out to do this deliberately. It was not kind of a mindset that I was in where I was like, I'm gonna go figure out how many different income streams I can generate. That was never the goal, but it's something that has happened over time, kind of just by happenstance. Personally, I've always been a bit of a busybody, which I know might sound contradictory to how often I talk about disliking work and wanting my own free time, but I think it's important to understand that disliking work doesn't necessarily mean not wanting to be busy and not wanting to feel productive and not wanting to do things. It just means not wanting to be beholden to doing things I don't want to be doing, if that makes sense. I've personally had my hand in multiple pots at most points in my life, sometimes by necessity, sometimes by choice, but I think that allowing yourself to have some variety and giving yourself the opportunity to try new things can be one of the most invigorating and fun experiences and one of the most beneficial things to your personal growth. How are you going to know what you like and dislike unless you give yourself the opportunity to try a bit of everything? So let's get right into it. Here are my 5 streams of income that I have managed to build between the ages of 20 and 30. Income stream number 1 is an obvious one probably, and that is my job. That is my day job. I know I've been a little bit evasive about it on the channel in the past. I talk about the fact that I'm self-employed and I run my own business, and those things are true. And I know a lot of people have left comments asking what exactly it is that I do for work. And I've been intentionally evasive, predominantly to try to protect my own identity. Also, just to be able to remain candid on this channel, I think that it's really important to keep a separation between my professional life and my private life. I want to be able to talk openly with you guys about things that are important to me, and I want to be able to give you my uncensored opinions about things, which apparently you seem to enjoy. And so I just want to make sure that I'm not representing myself in a way that would reflect negatively on my business, and as a result, I don't disclose what I do for a living, so sorry if that's not the answer you're looking for. What I can tell you is that I've been self-employed since I was about 22 or 23 years old. I can tell you that I run a service-based business, so I'm on the road throughout the week, meeting face-to-face with clients, and that's about all that is really relevant, I would say, for this video. Like for most people, my day job is the meat and potatoes of my income. It is the largest source of income that I currently generate, and though it can be wildly inconsistent on a month-to-month basis, on an annual basis, it's more or less as consistent as I can reasonably expect it to be, at least more so than any other stream of income that I currently have. By being self-employed, I don't have to worry about being fired, I don't have to deal with work drama for the most part, and I'm pretty lucky that I get a lot of control over my scheduling and my pay, but there are downsides too. Unfortunately, I don't have a consistent schedule. I don't have, like I said, a consistent bi-weekly paycheck. I get paid when I work and I get nothing when I don't. I don't get any sort of benefits, no medical benefits, no paid time off, no vacation pay. And I think that unfortunately the truth is that no matter how well established my business is, no matter how busy I get, no matter how successful I am, there will always be that fear in the back of my mind that like maybe one day the phone is going to stop ringing. Maybe one day my business is just going to kind of come to a halt, or it's going to dry up gradually over time and I'm going to be left with little to no income. I can only assume that that's something that most self-employed people have in common, that fear of like, well, what happens when it stops? I don't know if it's just me. If you're self-employed, let me know in the comment section down below if that's something that you think about often, if it's something you struggle with. But I guess part of me thinks that despite all of my complaints and despite the fact that yes, there are generally things I'd much rather be doing with my time than working, I do feel pretty lucky to be able to do what I do. I do feel pretty lucky to be able to call my own shots and be my own boss and have that element of control over my life, almost to the extent that I feel like I'm getting away with something. I do worry that one day my luck is gonna run out and I'm gonna have to go get a job like working at the mall or something. So it's not to say that there's anything wrong with working at the mall, it just wouldn't pay my bills sufficiently, unfortunately. So it is something that I worry about, and having these multiple streams of income does help to give me a little bit of self-assurance that at least I have a plan B and a plan C and D and E, I guess. My second stream of income is one that I have talked very openly about on this channel before, and that is flipping. Basically going online, buying things, and reselling them online at a profit. So I predominantly buy and sell musical instruments simply because that is what I'm comfortable with, it's what I'm familiar with, it's what I know about. But truth be told, you can buy and sell, you can flip anything. Any sort of item that you are at all knowledgeable about or interested in, you can most likely make a profit buying and selling on the internet. This is something that I absolutely love to do, and it again is something that I fell into kind of by accident. When I first started my actual business, I, like most people, didn't have very much work, right? Like it's not like when you start a new job and immediately you're on the schedule for 40 hours a week. When you're self-employed, it is a grind at first, and you can have long stretches of time with little to no income at all, which means that I had no money coming in and way too much time on my hands. So buying and selling things online was something that I kind of just stumbled into by accident when I found a guitar that I thought was a really good deal, and I was like, hey, maybe I can buy that and resell it and make a couple bucks. And I did. I've made a couple videos about that. I'll link to them up here. I'll link to them in the description box as well. But it's something that I've continued to do throughout time, even as my work has gotten busier, because I really enjoy it. It's something that I think I would probably do even if I didn't need the money at all, because there's almost like a thrill of the hunt of finding a good deal, and I get a little dopamine rush every time that I sell it and know that I made a good chunk of profit. But this is something that I absolutely love. I consider this to be my side hustle. Flipping is one of many side hustles that you can do. It's not for everybody. I understand that there are some logistic concerns sometimes if you don't have a car, or if you don't have the time to be able to commit to it, or if you're just not comfortable buying and selling and meeting up with strangers in a parking lot. I can't fault you for that. But I have made a video in the past of 25 different side hustle ideas that pay $50 per hour on average or more. I'll link to it also up here in the description and you can check it out. I think that no matter what you do for a living, no matter what your income level is, having at least a side hustle is something that can just really add a lot of positivity to your life. It can give you some extra pocket money to spend on fun things, even if you don't need it to pay your bills. It can again give you that little buffer in case something does go wrong at your day job. And for me, flipping is something that I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite parts of buying and selling because it's just the most amusing. It doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while you get a crazy person, somebody who like tells you some long-winded, oversharing story that's most definitely bullshit, in efforts to try to use it as leverage to negotiate you down in price or for you to feel sorry for them and give you something free, basically a sob story. So the drums are listed and I get a message that says, hi, I'm interested, please contact me if this is still available. So I said, hi there, yes, it's available. And then I get this message. I'm in, I'm gonna redact her city. I'm in blank. It's a city about an hour away from me. It says, would you do something less? My two sons, Chase and Cruz, want to learn. My mother was a drummer for Joan Jett, but passed along with my dad from cancer and ALS, but it's in their blood. What? I have so many questions. Okay, first of all, what? The amount of money that I'm able to generate from flipping things online varies wildly, and it's very much tied to the amount of time I have to input to it, as well as just what kind of deals are on the market and what people are looking to buy, right? There's a lot of elements that I can't fully control. When I've had the ability to spend nearly part-time hours dedicating myself to it, there have been times where I've made a couple $1,000s in a month, which is incredible. And there's times when I'm really busy at work, or I'm just not finding any good deals to buy, or I have a bunch of stuff and for whatever reason it's just quiet and people are away. Generally in the summertime, people go on vacation and people aren't really buying things on Kijiji as much. And there's been times where I've made like $100 in the month. But even $100 extra a month, especially if you don't need that money for your bills currently, that can just be spending money. And I don't think anybody has a problem with that. My third stream of income is the most recent one in my list. It's the one that is the newest to me, and it is this YouTube channel. It is crazy to me to think that this YouTube channel is now generating a little bit of income for me. I never in my wildest dreams expected this to happen as quickly as it did. I was posting videos for almost 2 full years where I made $0, literally $0. In fact, I was in the negative if you accounted for my camera gear and the things that I had to buy to actually make these videos. And in mid-December, I got monetized, and I've since been able to generate a little bit of money every day from this YouTube channel, thanks to all the wonderful people like you who are watching my videos. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you so much for watching, but yeah, YouTube is now one of my sources of income. I think that running a YouTube channel is very much like running any other business. As I mentioned in my regular day job, it took me a while when I first started to generate any sort of customers. It took me a while to be able to generate a consistent income of any sort. Initially, there were periods of several weeks where I would make no money, or maybe even a month where I'd make no money, and it was a grind, and it was something that I was doing in hopes that over time it would build up and become something more sustainable, and I think YouTube is just like that. Like I said, for the first while, it's all work and no pay at all. Work, 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 for the hopes that one day it's going to manifest into something, it's going to grow to a point where it can be something, and I'm starting to get to that point now, so that's really cool. If you guys are interested and you want to know how much money I'm making from this YouTube channel, let me know in the comment section down below that you want to see that, and I'll make a dedicated video about it. I'll say once again that it's certainly not enough for me to quit my job, and it's certainly not enough for me to pay my bills, but I have been completely humbled by the response, and I'm just really genuinely appreciative of it. Making videos is something that I started to do not out of a desire to make money, because I didn't think that that was realistically going to be anything viable for a very long time, if at all. But it was something that I started to do because I just wanted to kind of dive into a new hobby. I wanted to learn how to make videos. I wanted to learn how to better articulate myself in front of a camera, which is something that I've always felt a little bit awkward about and still do a little bit, but I am getting better at it. Making videos was honestly a personal development project for me. It was an opportunity for me to make videos talking about the things that I find interesting that maybe I don't have somebody in my real life who's interested in, who I can converse with about these things. And so having this YouTube channel has given me an outlet to be able to find my people, to be able to find the people who are into the same things that I'm into and who can relate to me on a more deep level basis and allow me an opportunity to talk about the things and be creative about the things that are important to me. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, if you want me to talk about more in depth how the whole YouTube thing has worked out and how the money is going, let me know down below and maybe I'll do that for you. All right, income stream number 4 is one that is definitely not paying my bills in any monumental way at this point, but it is probably one of the most passive ways that you can generate income, and that is through investments. Passive income is such a buzzword, and truthfully, I don't think it's really a thing. Passive income implies that you're doing nothing, you're being passive and income is being generated, and for the vast majority of people, that's just simply not something that is achievable, because there's really only 2 ways to make money in life. You either work for it or your money works for it. And I suppose that if your money is working for it, then it's passive, but you actually have to work physically to make that money first to be able to invest it to make the passive income. So I guess passive income is a thing, but it's not accessible until you actually make active income first. When your money works for you and generates income for you, that's called investing. And currently I hold some investments, mostly stocks and index funds. I don't have a ton of them. I'm not making a lot of money like that. In fact, currently my account is very much down, like most people's are, because the economy is kind of in the crapper right now. But I do generate a little bit of monthly income or a little bit of bi-monthly income from my stocks. Some of them pay dividends. Again, it's nothing serious, but all around, altogether, I probably make a few $100s of pocket change each year from my stocks. If I decide to sell any of them, which I don't often do, but once in a while I do, sometimes I'm able to sell them at a profit, which is the whole point. And sometimes I can generate a little bit more income from that as well. But yeah, my hopes are to be able to increase my income over time, decrease my living expenses, and give myself the opportunity to invest more so I can generate more income that truly is passive, because pretty much everything I do is very involved and very active. And finally, income stream number 5 is again a very passive one, and it is bank interest. So when you put your money in a bank account, if you have a high interest savings account, it should be generating some percentage of interest for you based on the money that's there. It is not an investment, it is no risk, it just sits there. Your money is totally accessible to you whenever you need it, but as long as it's sitting unused in your account, you're generating a little bit of income. With interest rates being as high as they currently are, it's probably pretty easy for most people to find a high interest savings account that is paying anywhere in the 3 to 4% range, if maybe not even a little bit higher. And so I do have a small emergency fund that is tucked away into a high interest savings account. And again, I'm generating a little bit of money on that. It's not a huge amount, but I'm earning about 3%, and it works out to a couple $100s a year, basically. Again, definitely not going to pay my bills, definitely nothing monumental, but it is probably the easiest source of money that I will ever make because I don't have to do anything at all to earn it. On the last day of every month, the bank automatically pays out the interest on the amount that I have there. So I check on the 31st and I get a little bit of money, I get a couple bucks. And yeah, I guess I could theoretically buy a couple coffees every month for free based on the interest that my bank account is paying me. So it's something. It's not a lot, but it's something. Over the next year or two, I hope that I have the opportunity to diversify my income even further. I would like to find more streams of income that are a little bit more passive. And again, I'm using that term lightly because I don't think that it's fully passive, but I would like to be able to find more things that give me a little bit more flexibility at the very least, more so at least than my day job does, where I'm tied to a schedule and I'm tied to having to meet appointments, and it's kind of a hassle and it's not my favorite thing in the whole world to be doing most days. And so my hopes are that my other streams of income will continue to grow over time, and maybe I'll pick up a few more along the way and just give myself the opportunity to live a more balanced life where I'm doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but not feeling overwhelmed by any of it in particular. That's the goal, at least. I have to say that I live kind of a strange life as far as jobs and money are concerned. Like, I have these 3 different main gigs, which are completely unrelated to one another and don't really fit in with one another in any given way, but it's just kind of the way that I am, and it's kind of the way that I've always been. I don't know, I'm kind of I don't like the word hustler because I feel like that makes it sound like that's a stupid internet term, but I'm somebody who's always been kind of wheeling and dealing and trying to find better ways to do things. And I'm a big believer in the idea of there has to be a better way. Whenever I've been in a situation where I've been unhappy with my current arrangement, I'll think to myself, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way to do what I'm doing. There has to be a better way to make money. There has to be a better way to pay my bills that makes me happier and that doesn't make me as upset or miserable or stressed or whatever other adjective you want to put in there. And so for me, that's, I guess, my version of positivity. That's my version of optimism. Is kind of frustration, which goes, hey, you know what? This isn't working for me. I got to find a better way. I got to get myself out of the situation. And this has been how I've managed to do it so far. For those of you who are watching, I'm very curious to know how many streams of income you currently have and what they are. And if you're somebody who currently only has one source of income, if you just work a regular job and that's all the money that you make, how do you feel about that? Do you feel secure in your position, or do you want to branch out and find other streams of income to be able to alleviate some of that burden? If you enjoyed this video at all, please go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Follow me on Instagram. Also, channel memberships are open, so if you want to support the channel and the work that I'm doing, you can click the join button down below and join Levi's fan club for some exclusive Levi content. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. I genuinely appreciate it. Take care, and I will see you next week.